I never thought I'd be the type of girl to completely reinvent myself for a man, but here I am sitting in the aftermath of my own wedding disaster, wondering how it all went so spectacularly wrong. My name is Adrien. I'm 29, and 2 years ago, I met the man who would become my husband. A man who had absolutely no idea who I really was until my so called best friend Natalie decided to get champagne wasted and blow up my entire life with one sentence. Travis wasn't even my usual type. He was handsome enough, I guess, but not the kind of guy I'd normally give a second glance. Button down shirts, tucked into khakis, a sensible mid sized sedan, that kind of squeaky clean vibe that usually made me roll my eyes. We met at this professional development seminar where the instructor paired us up for some teamwork exercise. But there was something weirdly appealing about how put together he seemed. Like the complete opposite of every chaotic, emotionally available guy I'd dated before. Our first date was at this little cafe where he talked about his 5 year career plan and his volunteer work at his church's youth group. He mentioned his parents, who'd been married for 34 years, and casually dropped that he was taking relationships seriously and waiting for the right person. That's when it clicked what kind of guy Travis was: traditional, old fashioned values. And honestly, in that moment, I saw a future I never thought I'd have: stability, security, a partner who wouldn't bail when things got tough. So when he started talking about his beliefs on physical intimacy and saving yourself for marriage, I nodded along, like that had been my philosophy all along, too. The words just came out of my mouth. I think there's something really special about waiting. Now I've learned from past mistakes. Look, I'm not proud of what I did next, but in that moment, it felt like my one shot at something real. When he asked about my past relationships, I gave him the sanitized version. I conveniently left out the string of bad decisions with worse guys, and most importantly, that year I spent on OnlyFans trying to pay off my credit card debt after getting laid off. It wasn't even that successful. I made maybe $10 over the whole year showing off for strangers online. My friends, Natalie and Jenna, had actually pushed me to try it. Easy money, they said. Everyone's doing it these days, they said. And when I shut it down and deleted everything a year later, they acted like it was no big deal. Just another crazy story for girls' night. My parents never knew. Thank God. I'd moved on, put it behind me. It was a desperate phase of my life I wasn't proud of. The longer Travis and I dated, the deeper the lie became. 3 dates in, when things were heating up on his couch, I pulled away and fed him some line about wanting to wait, about doing it right this time. The look of respect in his eyes made me feel simultaneously special and absolutely terrible. But also, it bought me time. Because the truth, I wasn't even that physically attracted to him at first. He was nice looking, but there wasn't that immediate chemistry I'd had with other guys. His kindness, his stability, that was attractive in a different way. I figured the physical stuff would develop over time, and playing the waiting card gave me space to let those feelings grow. 6 months in, I'd constructed this whole fake persona, Adrien 2.0, the reformed good girl who'd learned from past mistakes without ever specifying what those mistakes were. Travis would look at me with such admiration, telling me how refreshing it was to find someone with values in today's world. Each time, the guilt would hit me like a truck, but I'd push it down. I was different now, wasn't I? That OnlyFans girl wasn't the real me. This was the real me, the version I was meant to be. My friends thought I was absolutely losing it. You're seriously not sleeping with him? Natalie would ask 3 wines in at our monthly girls' night. The same girl who once, and I'd cut her off, giving her that shut up now or I'll kill you look. Jenna was more understanding but still warned me, Adri, you're building this relationship on quicksand. What happens when he finds out? I'd brush it off, saying he never would, that my OnlyFans was deleted, that no one save for our small friend group even knew about it. The worst part, as time went on, I actually did fall completely in love with him. The attraction I'd been unsure about in the beginning grew into something real. His kindness, his consistency, the way he remembered tiny details about things I liked. It all added up. By the time we were engaged, I was genuinely head over heels, which made the lie even harder to untangle. How could I tell him 6 months before our wedding that our entire relationship was built on a foundation of deception? So I doubled down. Wedding planning became my distraction from the guilt. Every time his sweet, traditional mother talked about how happy she was that her son had found such a good girl, I'd smile through the knife twist of shame in my stomach. Every time Travis's dad made some comment about kids these days having no values, I'd nod along like I wasn't exactly the kind of person he was criticizing. As the months passed, containing my carefully crafted persona became like walking a tightrope while juggling flaming swords. Travis and I settled into a comfortable rhythm of date nights, weekend hiking trips, and Sunday dinners with his family. His parents adored me, especially his mom, who once tearfully told me how grateful she was that her son had found a woman with values in this day and age. I smiled through gritted teeth, the guilt churning in my stomach. The physical stuff was complicated. I'd initially used the waiting excuse, partly because I wasn't super attracted to Travis at first, but as we got closer emotionally, that changed. Now I genuinely wanted him, but I'd painted myself into a corner with this whole purity act. Our makeout sessions would get heated, then I'd pump the brakes, playing the role of the conflicted good girl. I want to wait, I'd whisper, like some character from a faith-based romance novel. Travis would nod respectfully, telling me how much he admired my conviction. Meanwhile, my body screamed at me for being an idiot, while my conscience reminded me what a terrible person I was. The close calls with my past were the worst, like when we ran into Tyler at the mall, this guy who'd been one of my more enthusiastic OnlyFans subscribers. He did a double take, staring at me with this weird mix of confusion and recognition. "Don't you, aren't you?" I cut him off with a quick, "Sorry, you must have me confused with someone else," and practically dragged Travis to another store. Later, Travis asked if I knew that guy, and I muttered something about creepy men and changed the subject. Then there was the night Travis was helping me organize my laptop files and almost clicked on an old folder where I'd stupidly saved some backup content for my OnlyFans days. I practically lunged across the couch to grab my computer, making up some nonsense about private work documents. The confused look on his face haunted me for days. The closer we got to the wedding date, the more suffocating my web of lies became. Travis's family had fully embraced me, which somehow made everything worse. His mom included me in all these family traditions, showing me their heirloom wedding veil, teaching me his grandmother's recipes, telling me how excited she was for grandchildren, all while looking at me like I was this perfect addition to their family. If she only knew. The bachelorette weekend was when things really started unraveling. Jenna had planned this tasteful spa weekend at a mountain resort, very appropriate for my new good girl image, but after a few too many drinks on the first night, Natalie started in on me. "So is Travis getting the same virgin bride act you gave that guy from your political science class junior year?" she snorted, loud enough that some of my cousins definitely heard. I dragged her out onto the balcony of our suite, furious. "What? What is your problem?" I hissed. "Are you trying to ruin everything?" Natalie looked genuinely confused. "I thought they knew? You've been friends with these girls forever. These are my cousins, not our college friends. Nobody here knows about that time in my life, and I'd like to keep it that way." That's when Natalie's expression changed from confused to angry. "Are you seriously still playing this role, Adrien? You're about to marry this guy. He doesn't even know who you really are." "He knows the real me," I insisted. "The me I am now." "Oh, please," Natalie rolled her eyes. "The real you isn't some pearl-clutching prude who's saving herself. You're building your entire marriage on a lie." "It's not a lie. I've changed. People change. Changing is one thing, completely fabricating a past is another." She paused, studying my face. "Does he know anything about your real life? The OnlyFans year? Any of it?" When I didn't answer, she shook her head in disbelief. "He deserves to know who he's actually marrying." We barely spoke the rest of the weekend, maintaining a frosty civility for everyone else's sake. When Natalie left early, claiming a work emergency, I was actually relieved. One night, about 3 weeks before the wedding, Travis brought up our honeymoon. We were cuddled on the couch, and he shyly mentioned how excited he was to finally be together in every way. He'd been so patient, so respectful of my boundaries. And there I was, mentally panicking about how I'd fake the inexperience he expected. I'd gotten so tangled in my own lies that I was now stressing about how to pretend to be bad at something I actually knew how to do. During the rehearsal dinner, Travis's dad gave this heartfelt toast about how proud he was of his son for waiting for the right woman and staying true to his values. Then he turned to me with tears in his eyes, talking about how he and his wife had prayed for years that Travis would find someone who shared his convictions. I smiled through it, champagne glass trembling in my hand, while Natalie stared daggers at me from across the table. Later that night, Natalie cornered me in the bathroom. "Tomorrow's your last chance to come clean before you say your vows," she said quietly. "This isn't fair to him, Adri." "It's none of your business," I replied. "And don't you dare say anything to him. This is my life." "It's his life, too," she shot back. And you're letting him make a lifetime commitment without all the facts." I walked away, telling myself she was just being dramatic, that in the grand scheme of things, my past didn't matter, that it was too late now anyway. What was I supposed to do? Confess the night before our wedding? My wedding day started like a fairy tale. Perfect weather, hair and makeup artists working their magic, my mom crying happy tears as she helped me into my dress. Even Natalie seemed to have put aside our disagreement, showing up with the other bridesmaids to help with all the little details and actually behaving herself. For a few blissful hours, I forgot about the sword hanging over my head and just enjoyed being a bride. The ceremony was everything I dreamed of. Walking down the aisle toward Travis, seeing his eyes light up when he saw me. I'd never felt so loved, so sure that I was exactly where I was meant to be. We exchanged traditional vows, promising honesty and faithfulness to each other. If I faltered slightly on the honesty part, no one noticed. As we sealed our marriage with a kiss, I told myself that the past was officially behind me. From this moment on, I was Mrs. Travis Mitchell, and nothing else mattered. Then came the reception. Our entrance as husband and wife, our first dance, the father-daughter dance that left everyone misty-eyed, the cake cutting, all those milestone moments playing out exactly as planned. I actually started to relax, thinking I'd made it through, that my past would stay buried where it belonged. I should have known better. Dinner was winding down when the DJ announced it was time for toasts. Travis's best man went first with a sweet, slightly awkward speech about their friendship since college. My dad followed with an emotional tribute that had me dabbing at my mascara, and then it was Natalie's turn as maid of honor. She approached the microphone with a slight wobble in her step, 5 or 6 champagnes in, if I had to guess. Still, she started off okay, talking about our friendship since freshman year of college, embarrassing stories from our dorm days, how happy she was to see me find someone who cherished me. Standard maid of honor fare. I began to relax, thinking we were in the clear. Then her speech took a turn. "But what I really want to talk about," Natalie continued, her words slightly slurred, "is how far Adrien has come. We've been through so much together, the good times, the bad times, that period after she got laid off when things got really tough." My stomach dropped as I recognized where this was heading. I shot her a warning look, but she was too far gone to notice or care. "I've watched her transform into this whole different person," she continued, waving her champagne glass for emphasis. "Like, remember when you were so broke after that marketing job fell through? When me and Jenna convinced you to try OnlyFans?" A collective intake of breath rippled through the room. Travis's hand tensed in mine. "And now look at you, all saving yourself for marriage!" She did literal air quotes, slashing champagne onto the floor. The room went dead silent. I felt the blood drain from my face as 200 pairs of eyes swiveled between Natalie and me. Travis had gone completely still beside me, his face a mask of confusion turning rapidly to understanding. "What is she talking about?" he whispered, his voice tight. Before I could respond, Natalie plowed ahead, oblivious to the bomb she just dropped. "I just want to say I'm proud of you for reinventing yourself and finding happiness." She slurred, as if she was genuinely trying to give a compliment, even if some of us think maybe total honesty would have been. Thank God for Jenna, who finally managed to get to the microphone and gently pry it from Natalie's hand. I think that's enough reminiscing, she said with a forced laugh. Let's give it up for the beautiful couple. Scattered, uncomfortable applause followed as the DJ quickly started playing music, but the damage was done. I became acutely aware of Travis's parents at the next table, looking between their son and me with shocked expressions. Travis himself had let go of my hand and was staring at me with devastation in his eyes. Is it true? He asked quietly, his voice barely audible over the music. I couldn't speak. Instead, I burst into tears, which was answer enough. The look on his face shattered me. It wasn't just anger or shock, it was the complete dissolution of trust. Somehow, we made it through the rest of the reception. Travis put on a brave face for the guests, standing beside me with a rigid smile that never reached his eyes. He answered congratulations with mechanical thanks, avoided his parents' questioning glances, and didn't look at me once. I moved through the rest of the evening in a fog of humiliation and dread, making excuses for Natalie to anyone who dared to ask. The door to our honeymoon suite had barely closed before Travis turned to me, his expression raw with hurt. I need you to tell me the truth, he said, his voice eerily calm, all of it. It's not what you think, I started, but the look on his face stopped me cold. Don't, he said. Don't lie to me. Not anymore. Was what Natalie said true? Yes, I whispered, but it was years ago before I met you. And you were showing yourself to strangers for money? Each word fell like a stone. We talked in circles for hours, or rather, Travis asked questions that I couldn't answer satisfactorily, and I made increasingly desperate attempts to justify my deception. I don't even know who you are, he said quietly. The woman I thought I married doesn't exist. I'm still me, I pleaded. I still love you. That part was never fake. He looked at me, his eyes red-rimmed but dry. How am I supposed to believe anything you say now? Around 3 a.m., Travis grabbed his overnight bag. I can't do this right now, he said. I need space to think. Where are you going? I asked, panic rising in my throat. It's our wedding night. Is it? He replied bitterly. Because I'm pretty sure I just married a stranger. He paused at the door. I'll be at my brother's. We can figure out whatever this is after I've had some time to process. As the door closed behind him, I collapsed onto the bed in my rumpled wedding dress and sobbed until I had nothing left. In the space of a few hours, I'd gone from blushing bride to abandoned wife, and the worst part? I knew it was entirely my own fault. Travis didn't come back the next day or the day after that. Our honeymoon to Maui went unused, 2 first-class tickets to paradise gathering dust on the nightstand. I spent those days alternating between leaving desperate voicemails, crying until I was dehydrated, and fielding concerned calls from friends and family who'd witnessed the reception disaster. I told my parents a sanitized version of events, that Travis was upset about some things from my past that had come to light. I couldn't bear to tell them the whole truth. 5 days after the wedding, Travis finally agreed to meet at a neutral coffee shop. He looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes like he'd aged years in less than a week. I probably didn't look much better. I've been doing a lot of thinking, he said after we'd sat in awkward silence with our untouched coffees, and I've talked to my pastor, my parents, my brother. Everyone has an opinion about what I should do. My heart hammered in my chest. And what do you think? He sighed deeply. I think we rushed into this. I think I never really knew you, and I think you never respected me enough, to be honest. That's not true, I protested. I respected you so much that I was afraid of losing you. I knew what kind of woman you wanted, and That's exactly my point, he interrupted. You created this perfect version of yourself that you thought I wanted instead of just being real with me and letting me decide if we were compatible. You took away my agency, Adrien. You decided for me that I couldn't handle the truth about who you really were. Put that way, it sounded even worse. I'm sorry, I whispered. I never thought of it like that. That's because you were too busy thinking about yourself, he said bluntly. About what you wanted, about the future you thought you deserved, regardless of what it cost to get there. His words stung, but they weren't wrong. I'd been selfish, focused entirely on securing the stability and respectability I craved, regardless of the deception required. So what happens now? I asked, almost afraid to hear the answer. Travis stared into his coffee. I don't know. I'm angry. I feel betrayed. But I also made vows 5 days ago, and I don't take those lightly. He finally looked up at me. I think we need time apart, and if we decide to try to make this work, we'll need counseling, a lot of it. It wasn't the reconciliation I'd hoped for, but it wasn't a flat-out rejection either. Whatever you need, I agreed quickly. I'll do anything. That's the thing, Adrien, he said. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to be yourself. Your actual self, not some character you think I want. I need to know who I'm really married to before I can decide if this marriage has a chance. So began the strangest newlywed period in history. Travis moved back into his old apartment while I stayed in the condo we'd picked out together. We started seeing a marriage counselor twice a week, a neutral third party who helped us navigate the wreckage of our foundation. In those sessions, layer by layer, I revealed the real me to Travis. Not just the OnlyFans chapter, but all the messy, complicated parts of my life I'd hidden away. My actual views on intimacy, which were far more nuanced than the black and white version I'd presented. My initial lack of physical attraction to him. My desperate desire for stability after years of chaos. It was excruciating, like performing surgery on myself without anesthesia. Every revelation risked pushing him further away. But the counselor reminded us both that without complete honesty now, we had no chance of moving forward. For his part, Travis listened more than he spoke. Sometimes he'd ask clarifying questions, his face carefully neutral. Other times he'd just shake his head in disbelief. After particularly difficult sessions, he'd disappear for days, processing what he'd learned. I lived in constant fear that each new truth would be the one that made him file for annulment. 3 months after our wedding day disaster, we had a breakthrough of sorts. After a session where I'd finally confessed my initial calculation in dating him, how I'd seen him as safe, husband material, rather than someone I was genuinely attracted to, Travis actually laughed. You know what's ironic? He said as we walked to our separate cars. If you'd just been honest from the start about your past and who you really were, I probably would have still dated you. I might have had some issues to work through about the OnlyFans thing, sure, but what I wanted wasn't some perfect traditional woman. It was someone authentic who shared my core values of honesty and commitment. The revelation hit me like a thunderbolt. All this time, all this deception, for nothing. So you might have accepted me as I was? I asked, stunned. We'll never know, will we? He replied, a hint of sadness in his smile. You never gave me the chance to choose. 6 months after our wedding, Travis moved back in. We were nowhere near healed. Trust like that takes years to rebuild, if it ever fully returns. But we were trying. Some days were better than others. The physical part of our relationship was awkward at first, both of us hyper-aware of the lies that had defined our early intimacy, but slowly, something new and more authentic began to emerge between us. Travis's family was another matter. His mother in particular remained cool toward me, unable to forget how I'd deceived her son. I couldn't blame her. I'd have felt the same way in her position. Travis assured me they'd come around eventually, but I wasn't sure I believed him. As for Natalie, our friendship survived, barely. After weeks of avoiding her calls, I finally agreed to meet. She apologized for the way the truth came out, but not for believing Travis deserved to know. I was wrong to blurt it out like that, she admitted, but you were wrong to build your relationship on lies. I couldn't argue with her logic, though part of me still resented her for the public humiliation. Looking back now, a year into this strange marriage built on the ashes of deception, I still don't know if we'll make it long term. The foundation is cracked, maybe irreparably. Sometimes I catch Travis looking at me with uncertainty in his eyes, like he's still trying to figure out who I really am. And sometimes I wonder if I even know the answer to that question myself. What I do know is that you can't outrun your past. You can't build something genuine on a foundation of lies, no matter how convenient those lies might seem in the moment. And the person you hurt most when you pretend to be someone you're not is yourself. If I could go back and do it all differently, would I? Part of me wants to say yes. Absolutely. I'd be honest from the start, even if it meant losing Travis. But another part, the brutally honest part I'm still getting to know, isn't so sure. Because the truth is, I got what I wanted. the stable life, the respectable husband, the second chance at being someone better than I was before. I just never realized how high the price would be, or that I'd still be paying it day after day in the currency of broken trust. If this confession kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We share powerful true stories every day that explore the complex realities of life.